All right, boom, we're live. Episode 72 of MMA Complete. Today is November 11th. November 11th, 21, huh? 11/11/21. I've had a very long day myself. I'm extremely tired. But we got a show to do. We got a podcast, and luckily for us, we have a lot to talk about. Mainly the pod bet you see here. The hosts of MMA Complete made out very well over the last couple weekends. Obviously, we are just getting past the 2 weekends of UFC 267 and 268, headlined by Blachowicz, Teixeira, and Usman Covington, respectively. So we got a lot to talk about with those fights. And then we also have Yair Rodriguez, Max Holloway coming up this weekend. So we get to see Max, who everybody is assuming will win the fight. That's who everybody from MMA Complete is going to be picking Max too. So a lot of good fights to talk about. If you didn't check out our live stream last week that we did for UFC 268, go check that out. You get live in-depth analysis of the fights. We talk about every fight. We talk about the winners. We talk about the best fights, which we're going to do again today. But go check that out on our YouTube page, MMA Complete Podcast. And also go give us a follow on Twitter at @complete_MMA. So to start off today, I want to go over UFC 268. Obviously, we are going to talk about UFC 267 a little bit, but in last week's regular podcast, we talked about them. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it today. And actually, while I have a second, happy Veterans Day to everybody out there. I want to give a special shout out to all the veterans and the men and women who have served our country and who are still currently serving our country overseas or nationally. That's what I'm not going to try to say anything corny. Military veterans, anybody who served their country, anybody who wants to serve their country, have the most respect from me of anybody out there. And it's courageous and it's amazing what you guys do. Speaking specifically now to one of our own at MMA Complete, Mark. Hope you know that everybody loves you and the respect that we have for you for serving your country, as well as everybody else. Mark might be coming here today, so if he does, we'll have to ruffle up his feathers a little bit. But that's enough of that. Just want to have a big shout out to all the veterans out there. Actually got someone coming in.
Yo.
Hey, just talking about you.
Whew. Oh.
Happy Veterans Day.
Thanks, Chief. You're the best.
What's going on, man?
Nothing much.
I was just kind of get into UFC 268 a little bit.
Oh, you started?
Oh, yeah, we're live.
Oh, cool. What's up, everybody?
You watched the pay-per-view at all last week?
Yeah, I had to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
I just got back from fucking the South, and that was
today?
No, on Saturday.
Okay.
I sat down, and I'm like, I don't feel like going anywhere,
I feel you.
And fucking just I ended up buying, and I'm so happy I did. That was probably one of the best cards I've ever seen.
Dude, that was a crazy card. So we can start top to bottom. Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler is going to be one of the contenders for Fight of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
Slowed down towards the end, but that's what's going to happen when you have two vicious
powerhouses.
Dude, they were throwing everything they could. Michael Chandler almost got dropped 2 or 3 times. Gaethje almost got dropped in the first round. Justin Gaethje did win by unanimous decision. Talk about 230 significant strikes in a 3-round fight. That's pretty ridiculous.
That is crazy.
Pretty crazy.
And Gaethje landed well over half. Chandler almost landed half of his strikes, which is nuts because that means that they were throwing and fucking landing consecutively.
Well, Gaethje was just poised. Like it looked like his fight with Tony Ferguson. He's just his patience, his combinations, and Gaethje specifically was landing uppercuts in that fight that were just brutal. That's how he got his one knockdown against Chandler. Was an inside. He just stayed in the pocket. Got him. And he landed a bunch of uppercuts. And afterwards in the fight, they were celebrating together in the ring. They had pictures in the hospital. So nothing but respect between those two. And I don't think it'll be Fight of the Year. I'm looking at a couple other fights for that. But I think it's going to be top 5. Just the hype that was around it as well made it such a spectacular presentation, and it also opened up the pay-per-view, which no one expected, and that was a great way to open up the pay-per-view. Elsewhere in the card, actually, there was a couple fights on the prelims definitely worth talking about, so let's get that out of the way. Knockout of the night went to Chris Barnett in his fight against John Vellante.
Oh, that was the most insane heavyweight knockout.
That was a spinning heel kick in the second round.
This guy
out of nowhere.
This guy is not like built for that type of style, but he has it.
Dude, he's a chunky guy. He's tubby.
Yeah, he's 265, 5'9".
And he came in, and it was a decent fight in the first round, but out of nowhere, he just had that spinning heel kick, and John Vellante got stopped. Wasn't much more than that, but that was the $50,000 bonus of the night for knockout of the night. Even though Alex Pereira also deserved claim for that. Alex Pereira,
that was an amazing knockout.
Who lost the first round.
Yeah, totally.
He got fucked up by Andreas Michailidis, and then in the second round had a flying knee knockout. And Alex Pereira, if you don't know, is the guy that did beat Israel Adesanya. His only loss in kickboxing, I believe.
I think it was 2 times. He beat him twice.
Okay, so Alex Pereira is a name to watch out for in that middleweight division. We also had Edmund Shabazian lose to Nasruddin Imavov. Imavov stopped him TKO right almost at the bell in the second. It was the second round.
Mm-hmm.
It was an interesting fight. Imavov was definitely landing more shots, but Shabazian was actually able to. His head movement was really good, and I thought that he'd be able to go all 3 rounds, and then eventually. I can't remember what strike it was that Imavov landed, but within like a good 30 seconds after, I want to say it was like a left hook, Shabazian just had no idea where he was, and he eventually got finished off right before the 3rd round.
A lot of people are putting a lot of pressure on him for losing. He's lost 3 times in a row now.
Mm-hmm. He started 11-0, lost 3 in a row now.
They're putting a lot of pressure on the guy, but he's as old as us.
You're right. He's 23 years old. He surpassed 11-0 at 21, I believe. Mm-hmm. So I mean, this guy's gonna Imavov now is a top 15 fighter. He wasn't at the time of their fight, but now all 3 of his losses are against top 15 fighters. Mm-hmm. So he's gonna be able to come back. He's gonna be able to build a nice little career for himself. But he's gotta pay his dues, and that's what he's doing.
Yep.
Losing Hermanson and Derek Brunson are absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. Imavov's a little bit lower on the pecking order, but who knows? Imavov's young too. Maybe one day he'll be able to get to the tier of Brunson and a Hermanson. That was just about it for the prelims. Chris Curtis
was
knocked out Phil Hawes.
Chris Curtis would have lost that fight. He got a good fucking left hook on Hawes.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those losing the whole fight and then catches him. And sure, it was still only round 1, so the whole fight, like how much was it really? But
right,
happy to see Chris Curtis won because he's 35 years old. He's only got so much time left.
Oh, good for him.
But still, that Phil Hawes, I'd like to see Phil Hawes.
Bobby Green also knocked the Bolivian out of Ally Quinta in the first round.
From New York.
Talking about bets all throughout the last couple weeks, and the one bet that we said was a sure thing was the over in this fight, so we were wrong.
Really?
Ally Quinta versus Bobby Green, Yep, that was a mistake. But let's get into the main card. Real quick before we do it, go follow us on Twitter at @complete_MMA. Go follow us on our YouTube page, MMA Complete Podcast. Go check out Fans Only Sports on Facebook and YouTube. Check out Naked Sports on Facebook. And anybody that's been watching the podcast, we appreciate it. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with the main card results for UFC 268. All right, so we are now talking about UFC 268. We just went over the prelims, and once again, if you want to check out our live analysis on UFC 268, we did have a live stream on November 6th, which you can check out on our YouTube page, MMA Complete Podcast, as we do for every pay-per-view. So now would be actually a good time to shout out our next pay-per-view live reaction stream. We will be doing December 11th on UFC 269. UFC 269 is going to be is main evented by Dustin Poirier versus Charles Oliveira for the lightweight title, a fight that we've been waiting to see for a number of months now. Coming up to the event, we do have 4 more podcasts before that pay-per-view, so we will be talking, I'm sure, a bunch about it. And towards the ending of the show today, we can kind of give our thoughts on the matchups that will be happening because there's a lot more than just the main event. But for right now, UFC 269 live reactions will be coming on MMA Complete Podcast. We will be starting our live stream around 10 p.m. We'll be going all the way to 1 a.m. and we will be setting up the next pod bet, which we have been
on
a roll for pod bets lately. So definitely got to check that out. Stay tuned with the podcast for the next couple of weeks as we iron out the details. We usually do like a 4 or 5 thing parlay. And we had a parlay for UFC 266, which we did not have a loss. We picked all 9 or all 10 of the victors in UFC 266, and I believe we picked 6 of the over-unders right. And then UFC 267 and 268, because it was in back-to-back weeks, we made a pod bet between both of them, which you can see behind me, and that was victorious. We didn't get as many over-unders, but we ended up winning a lot. So definitely got to stay tuned to check out what we think about UFC 269, which, as I said, will be towards the ending of the show. But UFC 268 is fresh in the memories, and what a card it was. You're absolutely right. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And we already talked about Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler a little bit, but it's worth talking about again because it was so outstanding. What do you think? Is it like a top 5 fight of the year kind of?
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah, and like you said, they kind of burnt out towards the end, but that was out of pure damage that they took in 3 fucking rounds. Because both of these guys hit like trucks. Like we could see that with Chandler, how easy he was able to knock out Dan Hooker. And we could see that with Gaethje because of Chandler's face by the end of this fucking fight.
Yeah.
But there was some free punches from both of them. Justin Gaethje really did kind of dominate, I'd say.
I would too. There was moments in the second round, or I can't remember exactly which round. It might have even been the third, where Chandler landed a couple good shots. Gaethje definitely had gotten rocked. Oh, yeah. I believe in the first round actually he got rocked. And it looked like Chandler might have been able to put it away. Unfortunately, Michael Chandler never really amounted too much success within a confined period of time. Like if he did get a really good hand, he would kind of pander to the crowd, or he wouldn't be able to capitalize because he was tired, and therefore Gaethje was kind of able to get his breath together. Mm-hmm. Chandler did get a takedown in the second round, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in the press conference, and it's well-spirited shit talking between these two guys because their main objective was to go put on a show. They said that in every press conference. Mm-hmm. They said, make sure you tune in. It's going to be a war. We're going to start the pay-per-view off right. And that was their biggest objective. But obviously winning and becoming the number 1 contender for the lightweight title was another objective. And what I found interesting was Justin Gaethje in the press conferences had said, let's see who bitches out first and shoots for the first takedown.
Yeah.
And Michael Chandler went for the first takedown.
That's
and he also
expected.
Right. I mean, I never expected Gaethje to go for a takedown. I don't know the last time Gaethje has gone for a takedown in his career.
I don't know if has he? Maybe a clinch one.
I would assume that he's gone for one, maybe against Michael Johnson or Eddie Alvarez or something like that. But Chandler did go for a takedown. He did end up getting one. Gaethje was able to stuff a lot of takedowns. And I'll tell you what, Justin Gaethje looked really, really good.
He looked way better than when he fought Khabib.
And Justin Gaethje is going to, I mean, there's only 2 options. So we talked about Poirier Oliveira's 269. Mm-hmm. That's the lightweight title. The winner of that, barring Poirier, if Poirier beats Oliveira, you could say that they'll probably rematch.
If Poirier beats Oliveira, then the argument's going to come in where Khabib beat Poirier. So if Poirier can beat Oliveira, then who do you think is the real lightweight champ here?
Well, I don't think anyone's questioning that. Khabib hasn't fought in over a year, and I think he's still the greatest lightweight in the world.
He's out by the looks of it.
Right.
Hopefully he doesn't come back like when he's 36, 37.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think he will come back because his prodigy and is one of his best friends and training partners is also in line for the title. Mm-hmm. And which brings me to the point I was about to make. If Poirier beats Oliveira, it's likely that we see a rematch sometime in 2022, probably around June. Poirier-Oliveira 2 for the lightweight title. If that does happen, they're going to need to do something with the lightweight division. And in my mind, the best number one contender matchup you make right now is Justin Gaethje versus Islam Makhachev. Mm-hmm. You know, those are the two guys that have the biggest claims to being the number one contender. Gaethje, I believe, has more of a claim because he just fought for the title against a guy who retired right after. Therefore, you can make an argument that he is the ipso facto champion.
And he was interim champ before that.
And he was interim champ. That's right. His fight against Tony was for the interim title belt. And then they crowned a lightweight champion without him being involved. Mm-hmm. Not only that, but he defeated the guy, Michael Chandler, that Oliveira defeated to get the title. So,
if anything, after the fight with Poirier, Gaethje, by the sounds of it, should be in line for that title shot.
I completely agree. I would even argue that Gaethje deserves a title shot more than Poirier does. I get Poirier's the bigger name. Mm-hmm. Not only that, but he just finished a trilogy with Conor that he beat him in. And Poirier has a win over Justin Gaethje, granted 3 years ago.
Yes, he does.
So, you know, Poirier gets the title shot. That's totally great for me. And, I mean, I do believe he deserves it 100%. Poirier is an amazing contender. And if you ask me, Oliveira, Chandler, and Poirier are the best three lightweights in the world not named Khabib.
What about Islam, though?
Islam would be fourth for me.
We got to see him get tested hard, though. Because he's done well.
I completely agree with you. And not only that, but Islam Makhachev, known for being a grappler, did just have a very impressive victory over Dan Hooker, who took the fight on a month's notice and is not a grappler. And he Kimura'd him. So it's an expected win against a guy that is a UFC veteran and an amazing fighter, but just a guy who's not on Makhachev's level. Yeah. We've gotten past the fact that Makhachev's a top 5 fighter now. You know, you could have said whatever, and I did say whatever 6 months ago, 3 months ago about maybe he shouldn't have been moved up this fast. Maybe it's because he's under Khabib's tutelage, this and that. Makhachev's a top 5 now. Yes. But when you talk about top 5s, that's Oliveira, Poirier, Gaethje, Makhachev, and Beneil Dariush, actually. Yeah, Beneil Dariush is up there, too. And you talk about all those other guys besides Makhachev.
I would love to see Beneil fight Makhachev.
I would, too. Mm-hmm. I really would, too, because Beneil Dariush had a smothering wrestling performance against Ferguson, which I think is a really hard matchup against Makhachev. You got two great wrestlers. Mm-hmm. The only thing about that is if you have two great wrestlers, sometimes they won't even go to wrestle. Mm-hmm. And then I think that Makhachev is better standing than Dariush. I think Makhachev's very good standing. I think his boxing is very underrated because everybody just pays attention to his wrestling. But anyway, that was just my 2 cents about Justin Gaethje's next fight. You know, I think that he should get a title shot. I honestly, if Poirier were to beat Oliveira, I would be in favor of Gaethje fighting Poirier before Oliveira gets his title rematch. Mm-hmm. But I can see that the UFC would want to make a rematch over Oliveira and Poirier because I do believe UFC 269 is going to be very hyped up in the next coming weeks. Poirier is a huge star. Oliveira had his really great moment this year. I think it's an easy promotion to make.
Yeah.
All right, so that was the first fight on the main card. Coming up next, Shane Burgos versus Billy Quarantillo. Now, let me ask you this before we get started, because I only heard of Billy Q a little bit before this fight. You know, we saw him fight in the UFC 263 prelims. He had a good victory, but it was a slow decision victory. And then he fights Shane Burgos, and this guy doesn't stop moving.
No, Billy Q. Yeah,
he's throwing.
Gas tank didn't go at all.
He's throwing 80 shots around. He has a dominant cruise style about him where he just doesn't stand still. He switches stances all the time. He's throwing a lot of strikes.
Mm-hmm.
He beat Shane Burgos in the first round. I truly believe that he did. And then Burgos catches him in the second round with an elbow, I believe, out of a clinch. It was a dirty boxing move. Not to say it was dirty. It was just that's the style of it. And then Burgos flat out impressed me. And we all picked Shane Burgos, by the way. He was part of the pod bet. That was the biggest sweat of the pod bet was Shane Burgos.
That was arguably a fight of the night if all these weren't fucking here.
Right, it really was. And Shane Burgos really outlasted Quarantillo, who you said is known for his gas tank.
Yeah, he damaged him. He damaged him a lot, and that added up. And Burgos, by the way, that dude looks like he's heavy for 155. He fights at 145.
Right.
Which is fucking nuts.
Right.
This is huge.
He's got that Max Holloway size to him, but he looks bigger than Max. Max is kind of skinny.
He's thick.
Right.
Yeah.
He's as tall as Max, which is crazy.
He is? He's 5'10"?
I think they're both 5'11", right?
Wow,
I could be wrong.
No, you're right. You are right. That is insanity.
So, total strike count between both guys, I'll just do the math in my head real quick, was 712 in 3 rounds.
That's so insane.
That's ridiculous.
And strikes landed is at about 400 plus. It's like 420-ish.
Right. That's crazy. So much action. Real quick, and this number gets misconstrued sometimes, and I get that the UFC judges are the ones who really get to make this judgment. But as we see here, this is Google's results of the fights, but Billy Quarantillo was 0 for 14 on takedowns. I don't really think that was the case. He went for a lot of clinches.
Yeah.
And he brought him against the cage and tried to flatten out his legs to go for a double leg, but that was really to get positioning. He might have been going for a takedown, but also had in the back of his head that I'm trying to get to this clinch position. I don't know if he was 0 for 14 on takedowns.
No, it did not look like that many takedown attempts.
But my point that I was going to say is that those were all second or third round. Because in the first round, he was literally throwing strike after strike.
Yeah.
First round of that fight might have been the best round of this card. Well, actually, let's talk about that because we're going to get into some fights that could definitely challenge it. Frankie Edgar versus Marlon Vera. Now, I thought this was going to get knockout of the night.
Yeah.
This is Anderson Silva knocking out Vitor Belfort. Front kick to the chin.
Pretty crazy, man.
It was nuts. You want to talk about Burgos looks big for 145. Vera looked huge for 135.
Yeah, these guys are very, very big.
You look at Frankie Edgar, and he's kind of a small guy. Like, he's 5'7", 135. At the fight, he might have been 145, 145, I would guess. But Vera is just built.
It's almost like he's too big for the weight class. Like, how the hell are you getting back?
Right.
How are you getting back the weight that you had to cut?
And granted, he was 5'7". He was like an inch taller than Edgar, but he looked like he had 20 pounds more of muscle.
Marlon Vera is tall. He's he is 5'8". So, Edgar's 5'6".
Right.
So maybe he did look very tall though.
I'll tell you what, if Marlon Vera can be bantamweight, Frankie Edgar can be flyweight. That's what it looked like.
Frankie Edgar was lightweight champ at some point too. Like Joe Rogan was talking about that.
He's one of the best lightweight champs.
Yeah,
you beat Gray Maynard, BJ Penn.
Mm-hmm.
You beat Donald Cerrone back in the day. Like Benson Henderson. He had a great career lightweight, and now he's at bantamweight. And he was doing good at bantamweight. Mm-hmm. And I actually haven't checked the UFC rankings, but before this fight, Edgar was 8, Vera was 13. So let me check the rankings.
The fact that he's 40 right now?
40.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because at that low of a weight class, you don't really see like older people fighting. Get Aljo up the list already.
So Marlon Vera only went to 11, and Frankie Edgar went down to 12. Vera at 11. He went from 13 to 11 with his win over Frankie Edgar. I thought he would get moved up more, to be honest with you. I would have put him above Moraes. Maybe not Pedro Munoz.
Not Pedro Munoz, but definitely above Moraes.
Moraes we saw just get his shit kicked in by Mayor Wallace Willie.
Mm-hmm. And Pedro Munoz, he got beat tactfully by Jose Aldo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really, really beat.
Yes, he did. And it was honestly a decent fight, though. I thought Frankie Edgar might have been winning going into round 3.
He was
it
winning,
was
in my
close.
opinion.
It could be 1-1, but Edgar definitely won round 1. And then the round 2 was pretty close. I had Edgar 2-0. And then you could just tell Vera was being really patient. And he was setting up shots. And then in the third round, he was landing bomb after bomb. And then he just caught him with that front kick to the mouth.
Which, by the way, that was amazing. Like, it was picturesque.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, there's a picture of Edgar looking like a cartoon.
Yes, there is.
Like, that was insane power in that fucking front snap kick.
And Frankie Edgar kind of was pissed when it first happened. He said the ref shouldn't have stopped the fight, this and that. But it was an absolutely the right call. All right. Co-main event between Rose Namajunas, Weili Zhang.
I was, honestly, believe it or not, I was more excited for this rematch than I was for Justin Gaethje versus Chandler, personally.
What did you think about this fight?
It was close.
It was really close.
But Namajunas did what she had to do in that 5th final round.
So you're absolutely right. The 5th round was the most decisive round of the entire fight. Rose easily won the round against Zhang.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my only complaint. I can totally agree that a judge's decision is worth more than mine, right? Like, I honestly had the fight scored on my, personally, 3-2 for Zhang.
Really?
But if they were to say that Namajunas won the fight 3-2, I wouldn't have complained because round 3 was really close.
Mm-hmm.
I had rounds 1 and 2 for Zhang, 4 and 5 for Namajunas, and then the 3rd round I had slightly to Zhang.
Yeah, I think I had the 3rd round for Zhang too.
Here's the thing. 2 judges had the fight 4-1 to Namajunas.
The thing is, we got to see how much they factor in that ground control time, because that's huge.
I agree with you, but I if I'm not mistaken, the ground control time was only in favor of Namajunas in rounds 4 and 5.
Yes.
In rounds 1 and 2, Zhang had 2 takedowns, and she had ground control time. Now, Namajunas was able to switch positions in round 2 and get into side control, I believe. Or no, she went for side control the whole entire fight and only got it in round 5.
Mm-hmm.
But she was in half guard for like a minute or two, and that might have made the ground control time very close. But I thought Zhang had a really impressive rounds 1 and 2. I'm not mad at it at all because I think both of these ladies deserve to be the champion. I think this is easily the best 2 in the division.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You got Carla Esparza, who's up next.
Good. She's pretty good.
And she's a wrestler, so I think her versus Rose Namajunas is actually going to be a really good bout, which I think we will see next. But Joe Rogan even said it, like, I can see the UFC booking this fight 3 more times because this is like the best matchup to make by far, and I don't think any other women in the division right now stands a chance against either of these.
You want to hear something? I don't think she beats her. If Rose moved up to 125
to fight Shevchenko,
I know they're both 5'5".
Yeah,
Rose could probably do it, but would she want to?
I don't think she could, man. And it's nothing against Rose. I just think Shevchenko is
bigger, kind of.
I don't think it has to do anything with
technically
bigger.
Sound.
I think Shevchenko is better standing and better wrestling.
I think that Rose could get her to the ground, but as we saw, once I don't think she could finish her on the ground.
Right.
And
the Jennifer Maia
up,
fight. The Shevchenko Jennifer Maia fight really changed perceptions about Shevchenko. Before that, she was like, oh, she was probably the best stand-up fighter ever, but she needs that extra something, and she could never beat Amanda Nunes.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes out and out-wrestles Jennifer Maia for 4 rounds. And you're like, oh, she's fucking fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would say without question the second greatest woman UFC fighter ever, and it's not close. You know, you got Ronda Rousey, you got Rose, and you have... I think that's it. Shevchenko, I firmly believe... Well, I think she's going to get her trilogy fight with Amanda Nunes. I think that's coming soon. I think that's going to be 2022.
Yeah, I think they're doing the trilogy, and I think it's fucking worth doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that second fight was close, man.
It was close. It was absolutely close, and nobody has given Amanda Nunes as much competition as Valentina Shevchenko. Nobody. Anyway, Rose was the winner by unanimous decision. Weili Zhang is still kicking, though. Weili Zhang was on a 21-fight win streak, and then she lost to Rose twice. So I'm sure she will be hungry to get back in that division and start beating some ass. And I look forward to seeing what she has to do, because I do think that a trilogy fight between Namajunas and Zhang will happen at some point. Maybe not before the Nunes Pena or the Nunes Shevchenko trilogy, but sometime soon. And then we get into the main event. We're going to take a quick commercial break before we get into the main event, because I need to kind of compile my thoughts real quick. But you're watching MMA Complete Podcast. We do podcasts every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Go check out Fans Only Sports on Facebook. Go follow us on our Twitter at complete_MMA, and go check out our YouTube page, which is the best way to check out all of our podcasts for the last year plus, all of our live streams. And it's the best way to actually check out our live streams when they're going down, which next time will be December 11th for UFC 269. We'll be right back. All right, so what can we say about the main event of UFC 268?
Fireworks.
First of all, it was one of the most hyped up main events in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Volkanovski Ortega had some hype because the Ultimate Fighter. I'm trying to think of what 265 was. 265 was Lewis Gane. That wasn't too hyped.
Nope.
So it was the most hyped fight we'd seen in months.
This has been coming since the first fight, too.
And
it's had that build up.
We knew it would be, because Usman's the pound for pound best in the world, and Colby Covington's the best shit talker in the sport right now. Not named Conor McGregor.
He's very active.
So, and we all anticipated Usman to knock him the fuck out. We all thought that Usman would finally shut this punk up,
really,
even though in real life, Colby's actually kind of a good dude. There was some videos leaked over the last couple weeks that showed him being like a really nice guy and training other people and doing this and that and whatever.
It's an act, but
right, it is an act, and it fucking works.
Mm-hmm. You got to make that money.
So the first 2 rounds is exactly what we expected. The first 2 rounds, Colby looked flustered.
He did. He looked scared.
He looked scared, and he got rocked at one point twice in a round, and he only barely got out of the round because the buzzer sounded.
Yeah, that was where he looked. That was a knockout punch. There were 2 knockout punches.
It was landed, oh shit, like he's gonna finish him next round.
Mm-hmm.
And then the son of a bitch comes back, man.
I know.
And he's in his face, and he's talking shit, and he's landing combos, and he's taking shots from Kamaru.
Mm-hmm.
Now, round 3, I would argue Kamaru won rounds 1 through 4. Actually, I think he won round 1 through 3. 4 was a toss-up, and then he probably won 5. 4 and 5 are toss-ups. He's going to win one of them, and he won the first 3, so it's an easy decision. Yeah. But in round 3, you saw the possible takedown?
Oh, it was a takedown.
It was a takedown.
DC, there was arguing DC with the judges.
John Anik and Joe Rogan were both like, "You're the wrestler," and he's like, "No, that was a takedown."
Yeah, knees on the ground, he said. And you know what? I think he's right.
So the UFC is not calling that a takedown. Kamaru Usman has never officially been taken down in the UFC, but Colby brought him down. Colby brought him down.
He was right back up, by the way.
He was. It was quick as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But Colby brought him down, and he smiled and laughed at him about it. And then you kind of saw him getting into his rhythm. And he was landing combos, man. He was landing shots on Usman. He was taking heavy shots.
Oh, yeah.
Colby Covington's a tough motherfucker. He ate.
The right side of his face looked like he fucking ran into a fucking concrete wall.
Dude, and he was not getting stunned in the last 2 rounds. He was taking shots. He wasn't even getting fucking phased.
It was very odd. The progression of that.
But Colby just landed combos after combos, and he rocked Usman in round 4.
Mm-hmm.
Rocked him.
Like chicken legs.
Yeah.
And there was like 3 seconds left in the round, right? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Kamaru was literally like, if there were 20 more seconds to that fight, who the fuck knows?
I'll tell you. All right, so I saw an interesting piece on Twitter, and you look like you were about to say something. You can get to it right after.
Oh no, I got nothing.
Ready for this? UFC pound for pound rankings. Does Colby Covington belong on this list? Top 15?
PFP. Nah. I would say because of his performance was so good, like that you could consider it. But here's the big but. Who has he fought in the last 2 years?
That is absolutely the big claim. He does not have a single win over the current top 10 welterweights in the world.
Yeah, and he could. He very well could after seeing that.
I firmly believe that, and I believe his next fight, he will fight a really great welterweight. I don't want to throw names out there, but Vicente Luque? Gilbert Burns? Like, that would
Chimaev?
be... Right, Chimaev.
I really just want somebody to derail that hype train.
We're going to talk about Chimaev. I was waiting... I don't know when Garb's getting here, but I was waiting for Garb to get here before we talked about Chimaev. But listen, I'm not a huge Cyril Gane fan.
Yeah, I'm amazed by him.
He's really great, and it's so refreshing to see a heavyweight who's well-rounded. Almost always we see a heavyweight who's either great at jiu-jitsu, the Frank Mirs, or great at striking, just about everybody else. Yeah. Francis Ngannou's, if you will. And Cyril Gane can do everything. And he is
technical.
And he's like the Ngannou's, like fucking ripped. Like sometimes we see heavyweights and they're kind of chubby. Daniel Cormier's. Stipe's not chubby, but he's not ripped.
No.
And so I would put him above Cyril Gane. I would also put him above Jan Blachowicz.
Jan Blachowicz did just get beat. By the way, I missed that fight, and I am so I was depressed from it because I was looking forward to that, but I am so happy with what fucking that's a movie. That's a fucking movie.
It's so great, man. Not only is he the oldest champion in the UFC now, if you take every single division in the UFC, whatever there is, I think there's 14 men and women. The only fighter ranked older than 40 years old is Glover Teixeira. Ranked, not champion, not top 5, ranked, top 15 of any division.
That's badass, man.
And Glover is the light heavyweight champ. Now, he's going to fight Jiri Prochazka next.
It could go good if he doesn't get fucking...
If he takes down Jiri Prochazka, it could go pretty good.
Yeah, if he doesn't go, I'm going to stand with this dude.
I mean, fuck it. Like, his method to that fight was so great. He brought down Jan Blachowicz. He got Jan so scared on the ground that Jan wouldn't even try to pull guard. He literally stayed in full guard until the bell rang. And then in the beginning of the second round, he was so scared about getting taken down that Glover hit him with a left hook, fucking rocked him, woke him up.
The cage. And
then Jan's like just worried about protecting his face, and he gets taken down, put in a rear naked choke in 2 minutes. It was amazing game planning. Glover Teixeira is my hero.
Yeah, he is. He's a badass.
Glover Teixeira, you know what Glover Teixeira gives me vibes of? Like the new school Randy Couture.
Yeah, well, and speaking of old guys, that's a dude. By the way, Glover Teixeira is the first person, he's the oldest person to win the title. Not hold the title, because that goes to Randy Couture. He was fighting at 43, 44, I think.
I think, actually, Couture was 43 when he won it, but Glover Teixeira is the oldest first-time champion in UFC history.
That's what I mean.
It's ridiculous, man. And, he said it himself, and I completely agree with him. He's going to take 6 months. He's going to take a while and enjoy it and go vacation, be with his family. But sometime next year, Glover versus Prochazka, I am looking forward to that shit.
Oh, yeah.
I think Jiri Prochazka is a future pound-for-pound number 1 in the UFC, by the way.
How is his ground game?
We've never seen it.
We're going to see it.
We're going to see it.
Yep.
If he can keep Glover off of him and just use takedown defense,
I
think that we're going to see a second-round knockout because Prochazka's stand-up is fucking crazy.
Scary.
It's so scary. The Last Samurai, Jiri Prochazka.
Big old white guy.
All right, so to wrap up Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington, is Kamaru Usman's toughest 2 fights in the UFC against Colby Covington?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Does that alone make it like, okay, he should be top 15? Now, you say he hasn't beaten anybody.
Beat a Woodley.
Which, no. Well, first of all, I completely agree with you that has to be accounted for.
Yeah.
That, like, his biggest wins are against Tyron Woodley and Robbie Lawler.
Mm-hmm.
Those aren't great wins. Now, they're both tough sons of bitches, both former champions, but they were both old.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's an asterisk. But Colby Covington's last loss, that was not Kamaru Usman, was 2015 to Wally Alves and got guillotined.
And he's a wrestler, and wrestlers often get guillotined because
they're takedowns.
Yeah, they just sometimes don't learn that fast enough when coming into MMA.
So, like, Colby needs to fight a top 5 guy, not named Usman.
And then he'll be in top 15, in my opinion.
Does he fight Gilbert Burns? So here's an interesting thing about Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns is the former training partner and a really good friend of Kamaru Usman.
Yeah.
So you can already build off that. Like, you couldn't beat him. You can't beat me. Like, we already kind of have a camp rivalry. You can do that. But Colby Covington's claim to fame when he first started being a shit talker was that he went at Brazil.
Yeah, he did.
He called him fucking street trash in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, when he beat Damian Maia.
I know.
And now you got Durinho. That you could so easily make something
AKA
like that.
Dilbert.
You're right.
Colby Covington's nickname game is president, second to none. Really, he's got 15 good nicknames. I saw somebody listed all of them off. I'm like, holy fuck! Is Stephen Wonderbread Thompson?
Stephen Wonderbread.
Marty
Fake Newsman.
Yeah, Marty Juiceman. CEO of BP. No, it's both of those. He's got like 5 nicknames.
Right.
Fucking. We could look at the welterweight top 10 list. And he's got Michael Cheesewheel or some shit. Fucking Leon Scott. They don't even call him Leon Edwards. Street Judas. He made Street Judas.
Yeah.
And then Neil Magny's written twice.
What?
Magny, Neil.
Oh yeah, that's Jeff Neal and Neil.
Jeff Neal. Okay, I was about to say, what the fuck?
Yeah, speaking of those, we're going to have to set a date that we're going to finish off and revise those final rankings. I want to do that in December at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And we can, like, put it to bed. Like the last 2 podcasts, we just put all of them at the end of the year. Something like that. We're going to stay tuned for MMA Complete. Next pay-per-view that we do, I'm sure we will be kind of putting out our agenda for the last couple podcasts of the year, but we have a couple big plans, including revising our total rankings, including doing the pound-for-pound rankings for MMA Complete. If you want to go check out those episodes, I believe it was 63, 66, and 67 on our MMA Complete podcast page. We broke down every division and made our top 10 lists. And like I said, in the last couple weeks, we're going to be revising them and making an end-of-the-year special of it. As we also do every year we did last year, we're going to be making our cases for the fight of the year, knockout of the year, submission of the year, that and that. Fighter of the year, coach of the year, which is locked
Trevor
up.
Whitman, easy.
Oh my God, it's locked up. Trevor Whitman. Trevor Whitman, I read somewhere, is not only on main cards of pay-per-views.
Mm-hmm.
He's like 14-2 this year.
And like how many titles?
That's also 5 titles.
Yeah. What the fuck?
It's ridiculous. Corey Sandhagen is the most underrated fighter in his camp too. Corey Sandhagen's part of the Whitman camp.
He is. I didn't know that.
And he almost beat Piotr Jan.
Mm-hmm.
And he almost beat TJ Dillashaw. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's nowhere near getting cut, in my opinion.
Oh no, I think that Corey Sandhagen could make a move to featherweight because he's one of those guys. 5'11".
Help him out.
If you put 10 pounds of muscle on him, you can get some power into him. Who knows what he can do? Because he's a great striker.
He does.
He has great knees.
He doesn't really, he finished Edgar like we've seen, but he can finish people. I'm pretty sure he needs somebody in the face too.
Yep.
Like a second knee in the face. Might have been, no, it wasn't Aljo, but it was somebody. He could use the added power from a weight class jump. Yeah,
Trevor Whitman is by far the coach of the year. Khabib, I think, is in contention for it.
Yeah, well, with Islam and is Kamzat in his group?
No. Kamzat is not in his group, but Magomed Ankalaev is.
Yeah.
He's another one who is now, I want to say, number 6 in the light heavyweight rankings. Magomed Ankalaev is going to be number 6.
Wow.
He's going to be up there for light heavyweights in then 2022 as well. Alexander Rakic. I'm pretty sure Rakic is fighting someone soon. Like maybe at the beginning of 2022. I thought I saw maybe Anthony Smith, or did he just beat Anthony Smith? Anyway, all right. So now that we finished UFC 268, kind of talked about UFC 267, I want to talk about the upcoming fights. Now, obviously, this weekend we have Max Holloway versus Yair Rodriguez. That's a really good featherweight fight.
What's up, Austin?
What's up?
What's up?
I need it.
You should be able to. Yeah, you're in camera right there. So we're gonna be talking about the upcoming fights now. Coming up this weekend, Yair Rodriguez versus Max Holloway. Are we selling Yair Rodriguez short by giving him no chance?
No. Yes. Yeah. He has a chance, dude.
Okay.
He has a total chance. Max Holloway is the best boxer in that fucking weight class. You know, it's been proven.
Coming off the best win of his career.
Just because you're the best boxer doesn't mean you can't get caught by somebody inventive. And Yair Rodriguez is the very definition of
very
inventive.
Creative. Yeah. Especially, he has some of the only 360 tornado kicks in the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great kickboxer who has highlight reel knockouts. The only thing about that is, and this is my one reason that I don't give Yair a whole lot of chance. And it seems super disrespectful because Yair Rodriguez is a world-class fighter, and he's a top 5 featherweight. I truly believe that. But one of the biggest disadvantages for kickboxers is a guy who can use distance. Max Holloway has some of the best reach in that division, and he can use it. And I think that's going to make it really tough for Yair to really kick him in the face.
Find that distance.
Right. But
I think it's going to be a good fight. I'm looking forward to seeing what Max Holloway does. If Max Holloway does anything near his last fucking performance on Yair Rodriguez, it's going to be dude, throw him against Volk again, man. We gotta see it.
I firmly believe that in 2022 we will see Volkanovski Holloway 3. I absolutely do. I think we should have already seen it because I do believe that Holloway beat him in the second fight. It was a close fight, but Holloway, I thought, won the first 3 rounds. And then Volkanovski won the championship rounds, and I thought that gave him the advantage in the judges' scoring card. But shit, man. UFC 269 is not far away, and we talked about some crazy cards we had over the last 2 weeks. UFC 269 rivals any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Jorge Masvidal has had to drop out of his fight against Leon Edwards.
Do you know what the injury was?
No, it's undisclosed.
Not undisclosed, and they're not going to come out with it.
Wow.
Now, here's the thing. There's been a lot of rumors, and we don't have anything confirmed yet as I check Twitter because every single podcast week when we do this, we miss breaking news in the middle of the show. So let me just make sure nothing's got announced.
Every
time.
That's a bummer.
Khamzat Chimaev.
Yeah, it would have been good.
Khamzat Chimaev.
3-piece with a soda.
He is looking for a fight before 2021 ends.
Dude, Leon Edwards should fight him. And Leon Edwards is going to get his shit rocked in.
I think he might.
So,
I think it's possible. Very possible.
I don't...
Breaking, like I said, Nick Diaz is also interested in fighting.
I don't want to see Nick Diaz get fucked up by Khamzat.
Fighting Leon Edwards.
No.
I don't want that.
No.
I don't either, but it would be a cool revenge story. You beat up my brother, I'm going to fight you now. It's interesting. But Leon Edwards would fuck him up. If Khamzat Chimaev fights Leon Edwards
doesn't want to take that fight. Chimaev.
Didn't he already deny it once?
Yeah, they were supposed to fight.
Oh, no.
When Khamzat Chimaev got COVID.
This is around last year.
Yeah. He thought he had cancer and everything. Shit. So
I don't think he thought he had cancer, but he got COVID.
Yeah, but no, he was talking about how he thought he had cancer.
2 weeks later, he retired.
Right. Yeah.
What the fuck? And then he comes back.
Yeah, but he realized it was just issues from the breathing.
Yeah.
Khamzat Chimaev. It's.
Do you think he's a force, man?
Do you think UFC is ever going to make him choose a weight class?
Nah, not.
Yeah. They can't. You can't.
they're freelance fighters, so I guess the only way they could make him choose a weight class is by getting him stuck in like a 3-fight contract in a certain weight class.
Okay.
Because they're.
I don't think they should. I don't think they will. I'm just curious as to like if you get top 5, like are you gonna make him like stay in a division?
Mm-hmm.
And we saw recently that Dana said that Paulo Costa is the only exception ever to that rule. Like now they're telling Paulo Costa you have to fight a light heavyweight, and he hates doing that, but he's doing it now.
It's because he fucked over Vettori. By the way, another fight like that was a cool.
That was a crazy fight. Yeah,
that was a good fight.
Vettori's an animal, man. Vittori's an absolute fucking monster.
I don't know how he isn't still asleep.
If it's true that Paulo Costa tore his bicep and he fought through that, I give him a little bit of credit, man.
I wondered because that thing wasn't bruised at all.
That guy's the excuse maker, though.
Yeah.
You never know. You have to take it with a grain of salt.
No,
if
I'm just
did.
saying. Yeah, if he did,
Right.
I'm giving him all the credit in the world. Because he probably just didn't want to reschedule the fight. You know what I mean? You go through a whole training camp.
Yeah.
You know, like not even for like him, but like for Vettori too. Like, you know.
Yeah, that's why Vettori didn't.
Maybe it is better off
cancel
that he doesn't cut weight and they still fight because they still both get paid.
It was a good
no one gets paid.
It was a good one-time event, and thank God, like it played out the way it did. But that can't be accepted in the sport.
I agree.
That was like he showed up and he's like, I weigh this much, and I'm not fucking going less than this.
Yeah.
Like what, motherfucker? You're contracted to fight at 185.
And he kind of had a little sway too because they were the main event, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you can't really just cancel a main event
like that
3 days before the actual event. You know what I mean?
So Chimaev is now the number 10 ranked middleweight in the world.
Oof.
If he were to fight Leon Edwards, number 3 ranked welterweight, what would you do? Where would you put him in the rankings?
Come shot.
What? Yeah, come shot.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm personally thinking like what he's done is super impressive. Li Jingliang, nothing crazy.
Right.
Yeah, and the other 3 bums. Gerard Mearshart is his biggest name.
Yeah, here's the thing,
2.
though. Li Jingliang, nothing crazy, but he's ranked. He was ranked and he had a 3-fight win streak. And Khamzat Chimaev ragdolled him like I've never seen anyone ragdoll someone in the UFC before.
It's like
we need to see him fight upper rank. So
I agree with you, but like that's what he's about to do.
Yeah. So I'd like to see him fight Edwards. He is looking for a fight in 2021, and December 11th, right there. You got the ranked number 3 guy.
And if not, you can do January 22nd. Gone.
He could move up to heavyweight for backup.
Oh, I'm sorry. So Khamzat Chimaev beat Li Jingliang at welterweight.
Yes.
I thought that was a middleweight fight. Was that really a welterweight fight? Did I really fuck that up that bad?
That's if he's just in welterweight. Like, that's his placement.
It was at fucking welterweight. No shit. Okay, so Chimaev, never mind about double weight classes. I mean, he still could do middleweight, but he's welterweight. He's the 10th ranked welterweight. If he fights Leon Edwards, we were just talking about this because we were talking about UFC 268. Colby versus Chimaev.
Yeah, I know. I'd like to see that, yeah.
We thought Colby versus Gilbert Burns could also be a really good fight.
I said that to the guy I worked with the other day. I'm like, dude, Colby Chimaev, just because, like, Colby's ground game.
The shit talking will be great.
And the shit talking and the hype up to the fight. Like, Chimaev's, he's smart. He's business smart. He's starting to learn a little English, broken English. It's funny.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny as hell.
But I think there's a lot of similarities between Usman and Chimaev. They're both big guys for 170.
Usman weighs 192.
Usman's just fucking jacked.
It's freaky. It's kind of like,
but Chimaev,
USADA, like, are you guys doing your job?
Chimaev's personality, though, he's not scared to bring the fight to Usman like a lot of fighters are. Chimaev will go balls to the wall and run right at him and try and pick him up.
I think so, too. I also think Usman, other than what Kobe was able to take him down in that fight, dude's got has a 100% record for takedown defense, and that'd be awesome to test like who's got the better game, the defense. Of Usman or the takedowns of.
I'm
Chimaev.
still betting on Usman, dude.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can beat him right now. Yeah. Not right now.
What is that? Yeah, I don't think anybody can beat Usman right now. And I mean, Kamaev is moving up the rankings fast, but like, what do you guys see? Like, how, it could take him 2 years to get that fight. You know what I mean? But it's moving. So that division moves so fast that like, he could be fighting Usman in less than a year.
Usman does fight.
He could
frequently.
fight in 9 months.
Well, that's the thing about the welterweight. That's the thing. He could be fighting him in 4 months.
I would
that's
say
the thing about the welterweight division right now is that the top of the division
yeah.
have all lost to Kamaru Usman. That's the biggest part of it. Like they're looking for new challengers. Now you got Vicente Luque, you got Leon Edwards, who hasn't lost to Usman in a couple of years.
Yeah,
so
he beat Edwards like way back.
Right. So Edwards and Luque could both get a title shot next year, early next year. But if this fucking happens, that Khamzat Chimaev steps in on less than a month's notice.
By the way, already kind of weird because the Li Jingliang fight, he's still probably well off.
Oh yeah, no, it's not like he got hurt.
Dude, he's only been punched twice, dude, in his whole career.
Khamzat Chimaev had a grown man, a mixed martial art expert, a guy who's been fighting for years, in the air holding him.
And then walking.
As he was talking to Dana White in the crowd, saying, "Get off your phone."
And Hasbulla, don't forget that.
Like, that is absolutely ridiculous.
Hasbulla made a showing, too. That was awesome.
Dude, Islam Makhachev was throwing Hasbulla up in the air like Hasbulla was 5 years old. That was...
I don't know if you guys talked about that fight, but...
Yeah, we talked about Makhachev.
Yeah, that's a good fight. He's dominant. That's the future champ, maybe.
Well, here's the thing. All right, so... We can bring this back because I said we were going to talk about Poirier Oliveira at the end. So let's talk about that now.
Okay.
All right. Before we get into the actual matchup, this is what I was saying earlier, Austin.
Charles Oliveira could beat Islam.
This is what I was saying earlier.
Islam?
Poirier.
No, Islam.
Oh, okay.
If Poirier beats Oliveira, it's likely that sometime in 2022 we see the rematch for the lightweight. We see Poirier Oliveira 2.
Mm-hmm.
And if that were to happen, there would have to be some kind of movement. There wouldn't have to be movement. Both of these guys could arguably try to wait it out to get a title shot. But if we see Poirier Oliveira 2, we're probably going to see Gaethje Makhachev for the number one contendership in the lightweight division. Now, as it stands right now, who do you think deserves a title shot more?
Makhachev. I think Makhachev.
You do?
100%, dude. 9-fight win streak. 3 wins this year by finish. This year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's fought, 3 times in a couple months? Or twice in a couple months?
Yeah,
so it's not like...
Yeah.
And no one wanted to fight him before. And people say that Thiago Moises, whatever the fuck you want to call him, not a big guy, but he was ranked 10 when he beat him. So, I mean, take it how it is, but the guy's got wins, dude. Mm-hmm. And Rafael Dos Anjos, not injured, dude. Not injured. The heck?
You don't think he was injured?
Yeah, that's true. Rafael RDA avoided him.
100%, dude. They've been avoiding that guy for years. RDA can't do shit against him on the ground. And he proved it. He proved it with this fight.
But does he deserve it more than Gaethje?
Yeah.
Gaethje just beat Chandler.
Gaethje also was the interim champ and lost to Khabib before the title got vacated and didn't get a shot at the original title.
Yeah, no, I think Islam deserves it more, dude. That's just me.
I think he should fight Dariush and then get that.
Dariush is an interesting name to also put in that discussion because Makhachev Dariush is a very interesting matchup.
Can you look at Dariush's record, by the way?
Dariush is on a 7-fight win streak.
He has a very boring style, but
he's Tyron Woodley.
Yeah,
it's exactly what he is.
Yeah, but he hasn't fought. Well, he did fight.
He beat Tony.
Yeah, he hasn't fought anyone that's good on the ground. But I mean, Tony's not good at wrestling.
He lost to Alexander Hernandez back in the
Tony's
day.
good at wrestling.
He's good at jiu-jitsu. He's not good at wrestling.
He's a Division I NCAA champ.
Oh, it didn't look like it.
Yeah, it looked fucking pathetic. But,
maybe he's just past his time. I honestly think he's just past his time.
He is an older guy.
So Dariush has a 7-fight win streak. Thiago Moises, Drew Dober, Frank Camacho, Drakkar Klose, Scott Holtzman, Diego Ferreira, Tony Ferguson. More than half of those guys have been ranked in the last year. You can say what you want about Tony. I agree with you that Tony's washed and that his fight against Tony shouldn't be as impressive as it is. But Dariush is a great wrestler, and he can knock people out. And that's what I would say about Makhachev. Makhachev's a better wrestler.
Makhachev submits people. I wouldn't say he knocks people out.
He's a finisher.
Yeah, he submitted Drew Dober and Frank Camacho in the first round.
And then he's also KO'd by spinning back fist.
That's just what I think. I think Makhachev just takes him down to the ground and dominates him. He's not going to be able to get up.
I'd like to see it because
if he
could do that, that would scream like future champ to me.
I don't know what else he really needs to prove. I don't know.
Let's look at.
I would like to see him get one more ranked win. I would like to see it. I agree with you that you could totally put him in the title shot right away and he would deserve it. I just think that Justin Gaethje should get another title shot. That's all I think.
He beat a guy that has one win in the UFC, 3 fights total, right?
Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, also a Bellator champ who has beaten Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah, Bellator champ,
155 UFC lightweight champ. Eddie Alvarez.
We're talking about a guy that's fought 3 times
in the UFC. Yeah.
And then right after he loses, guess who he calls out? Conor McGregor. Wanna know why? Because he wants to get paid. And honestly, I like Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor. Because I think Michael Chandler can win that fight.
I know, I feel so bad watching Conor go down this lake.
I know, this road where
everybody's just trying to
everybody
take a dip
calls him out for a money shot, you know what I mean?
Right. You gotta wonder, when does he stop pulling?
What does Michael Chandler have left to prove, dude? He's lost.
He's lost to the 2 best lightweights in the world.
Dude.
Mm-hmm. Or 2 of the top 3. He won in
15 seconds. He rushed the guy and he knocked him out. So, yeah, he won the fight, but he wasn't in a fight. You know, I mean, he can take a goddamn punch.
I do not think Michael Chandler is done by any means.
He's getting old.
I mean, 2 months ago.
I don't think he's done.
2 months
ago,
getting
old and he knows
we were saying that this guy don't deserve to fight no one. Now we're saying
only because of the performances he's put on. He's put on some good performances.
Well, it was different when he hadn't had a single fight and he was the backup for the championship fight.
Yeah,
that was way too much, way too early.
And when Tony hadn't fought Khabib yet. Gaethje was going to fight Khabib. There were others waiting for Khabib.
No, Chandler was the backup for Gaethje Khabib.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Right. Right, because so Tony could have been the backup.
Yeah,
yes, I get what you're saying.
On a 12-fight
Poirier could have been the backup. Right. Anyway,
I don't know.
So Poirier Oliveira is going to be next month.
Can I
1 month
say
from
one
now.
more thing? Islam Makhachev versus. See, I would like to see Islam Makhachev fight Gaethje, but doesn't that fight sound better if one of them's a champion, and then they fight?
Yes,
that's what I mean.
But they might not have that luxury. Is what I'm saying.
No, but that's what I mean. It's that fight sells way more if one of them's a champ. I would rather watch that fight as one of them the champion than them be on a co-main or
Well, I think that goes for any
first fight
though.
of the main card. Yeah, but we're talking about. Yeah, we were just talking about them fighting for the fucking championship, so that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
I'd much rather them fight for a championship than just fight for.
The only way that happens is if Poirier beats Oliveira, and they want to have a rematch
Oliveira
next
can
year.
Win. Oliveira can beat Poirier.
No. That's not what I'm saying. If Oliveira beats Poirier, which I, by the way, think he might, then I absolutely believe that Gaethje or Makhachev is next.
Yeah.
But if Poirier does beat Oliveira, you might not see those number 1 contenderships happen because Oliveira would probably get a rematch, and then you have to do something with Gaethje Makhachev. That's what I mean. Maybe they would have a number 1 contender fight later on down the road.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. If Gaethje wants to wait out and wait for a title shot, I could see that too because he kind of already did that because he hadn't fought in over a year. But Makhachev Darush could happen too. Dude, I don't know which one I want to see more.
No one even knows about Darush. No one wants to see this guy fight. No one.
But he's still number 3 ranked.
Yeah, I know, but no one gives a damn at the end of the day.
All right.
It all depends on what they want the money to do.
I'm just
because if he takes out Darush, that makes a difference. If he can take out Darush like that, everybody better be fucking terrified because you're not beating him.
Well, they're already terrified, but I do agree with you that if Makhachev beats Darush, I think he leapfrogs Gaethje for number 1 contender.
Mm-hmm.
I think Makhachev has a better chance of beating Poirier than he does against beating Oliveira, because I think stylistically, Oliveira can beat Makhachev on his back when he gets taken down. So
yeah,
he does. It's a cool fight. Either like no matter Makhachev could fight all four of these people ahead of him, and I'd be interested.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
If Poirier wins, Makhachev should get a title shot right away. If Oliveira wins, I think Poirier. I think Gaethje and Makhachev should fight to see who fights Oliveira.
So one thing to mention that's important.
That's what I think.
Justin Gaethje said at the end of that, if we don't get the title shot after this, we riot. Because before this, Dana said,
and I don't blame him at all.
Before this, Dana said Gaethje gets a fight.
Bad defense.
Gaethje gets another fight and wins. Then he'll get another title shot. So
I think that Gaethje deserves the title shot for his next fight. But if Oliveira loses, then Oliveira deserves a title shot more than Gaethje.
Does he?
I think so.
I don't know. He just lost
a 9-fight win streak. And
Steve didn't get it.
Is Makhav's on a 9-fight win streak?
I completely agree that Stipe should have gotten it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're already past that. Like, I think that Stipe should have gotten it. And I said that.
Yeah.
So I get that that's not how the UFC works. The UFC is going to market their fighters and do this and that. But from a perspective of the best fighter should get the title shot, I think that Justin Gaethje deserves the title shot more than anybody.
Well, I think best fighter, put the best fighter.
It
should be Makhachev.
That's how you
so I don't think best fighter matters, because I think the best fighter is Makhachev.
And that goes down to, is Makhachev the best fighter between him and Gaethje?
Look what happened to Gaethje with Khabib. I think that this fight's already scratched. I already know who wins against Gaethje is on Makhachev. I really do. And I think we all do.
I don't.
Because look at what he did.
I don't. I see your point.
Right now,
I completely see your point.
He's not going to be able to keep him off the ground. You think he's not going to be able to bring him to the ground? I think
he does. I think he learned a lot from the Khabib fight.
Five takedowns. I guarantee you, he takes him down at least once.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Makhachev absolutely takes him down once.
And I think if he shoots for 10, he takes him down at least 3. And I think he finished them in at least 3 takedowns. I really do.
I don't know about
because
that.
I don't think Gaethje can defend a submission. He can wrestle.
Yeah.
But he can't defend a submission.
He's not at all. He's lacking in that field that's noticeable.
I also don't think. I know that in the UFC, Islam Makhachev has not fought anybody. Listen, he fought Dan Hooker, and Dan Hooker's a really good striker, but he's not on Gaethje's level. No. And I think that Makhachev has to shoot like every 10 seconds so that Gaethje doesn't get an opening.
But look at Khabib. He kept his distance. Like, Khabib did what he did with him in the second round, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he was landing power fucking shots on
him. Yeah, you can argue that Gaethje at round 1. Absolutely.
A lot of people he was landing power shots on him. Again, Khabib can eat punches.
Can we talk about Gaethje's fucking leg kicks for a second? Because we haven't talked about that at all. Because we talked about Gaethje Chandler already. Gaethje is probably the best leg kicker in the UFC. Chandler's left leg was
welted.
Fucked.
Not better than Adesanya.
Well,
Adesanya's probably up there too. But Gaethje's right there.
I don't know. I'd say Doug Rose maybe.
I'd
say that motherfucker that did that 360 wheel kick.
Chris Barnett.
That was nutty.
Well, I don't think we'll see that again. Like a heavyweight.
But you can't kick when you're on the ground. And in that fight, Islam Makhachev does not want to fight him standing up, obviously. Right. And that fight is going to the ground. It's going to the ground. I don't even know what else to really say.
Okay. I want to see that fight. I really do.
I want to see it,
I think that if Oliveira beats Poirier, if Oliveira defends his title, in 2022 they're looking for the next fight, I truly believe that Justin Gaethje will get it first. I really do. I really do.
Just the way that it'll play out.
Well, the fact that Gaethje's only lost in the last 3.5 years is Khabib. He was interim title until Khabib beat him and then they vacated the title, and Khabib didn't get a shot at the title. I think that Khabib has more of a claim to the title than Poirier does. I thought that Gaethje was going to get the title shot before Poirier did. But Poirier had his trilogy against Conor McGregor, and they're looking for money, and I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think Gaethje would have fucked
like
with the title.
Poirier beat the number 8 ranked lightweight to become the number 1 contender. And we just saw Gaethje beat the number 4 ranked lightweight.
Just want to point out, look at Glover Teixeira, though.
We love him. We love
Look
him.
at him.
Mm-hmm.
That shit was
He
awesome.
loses a championship fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look how long it takes him to get another shot at a title.
And
Look how long it took him to get another shot, dude.
he ain't a draw. That's the thing. Like, until recently.
I'm not even looking at it as a draw thing, because like Gaethje, I mean, he's not really a draw either at the end of the day.
Yeah, he is.
Not really. Outside, like,
I would think
not
he's
outside
one of
of
the
the
biggest
UFC.
names in the sport.
no, there's a much bigger names.
They put him
Do you think he's a bigger name than Makachev?
I'd say he's the same amount of name as Michael Chandler.
Do you think he...
Justin Gaethje. I put them in the same room.
Okay.
So Glover,
But I mean, look at Glover Teixeira again. Like he get what?
He was
It took him
beating good
5
guys,
years
yeah. It took him.
to get another title shot.
it took
So, I
him
mean,
more
just
than that.
about, yeah.
He also had
7.
losses in between there. He lost to John Jones, then he lost to Gustafsson after that.
And Anthony
Yeah.
Johnson.
But we're talking
And
about
John
wins
Anderson.
previously. Like Gaethje, hasn't lost in 3.5 years, other than to Khabib. Finishes a lot of people. See, same thing about Islam Makhachev. 9-fight win streak. Hasn't lost in over 3.5 years. Connections with Khabib, the guy who was just champion. It's more than just being,
I think
who deserves it more.
we're not going to get anywhere in this
I know.
argument.
Oh no, it's not an argument, not at all.
No, it's not an argument.
No,
but
debate, 100%.
But we just said you're.
And would I be mad if Justin Gaethje got the title shot? No.
Right.
I think Justin Gaethje Poirier, that's a damn good fight.
Gaethje's he's one of the biggest names in lightweight right now, because that's why they put him at the beginning of the card, because they wanted to fill the garden.
He absolutely is.
I don't know.
He's 100% one of the biggest draws.
Compared to Islam, he is bigger.
Yes, he's way bigger of a name
I'm
than
not
Islam
comparing
Makhachev.
him to Islam.
I
I would say
it's-
I would say it's-
and Oliveira's a bigger name than him.
I would say
because
it's
he's the champ.
McGregor,
Yeah.
Poirier, Oliveira, and then Gaethje and Tony Ferguson top 5.
Yeah,
I put
Tony
Tony Ferguson above him.
I don't think I would. You
Ferguson
could totally
beat
could.
himself
You totally
second.
could. But I would say he's top 5 names in lightweight. In lightweights, you got fucking. Anyway, I want to talk
The
about.
most stacked division in the UFC.
We only got a couple more minutes here. I want to talk about UFC 269 real quick because it is a really great card. Now we talked
Nunez is getting
that-
another W.
Leon Edwards versus Masvidal is officially off because of Masvidal's injury, but the UFC is trying to make a replacement. Could it be Kamaev?
Yes,
We'll see.
It better be.
Elsewhere on the card, Sean O'Malley fighting Holly and Paiva.
Or
Holly and Paiva just came off a what?
Kevin Gastelum.
Stepping in on short notice.
No, I'm just saying for a joke.
Right.
I'm not saying.
Kelvin Gastelum with his 5th short notice fight of the year. Yeah.
I feel
Holly
so
and
bad.
Paiva, who just had fight the night honors in July or August, is now stepping up to bantamweight. He's originally flyweight to fight Sean O'Malley in a fight that Sean O'Malley is going to have roughly a 3-inch reach advantage, 4-inch reach advantage. Holly and Paiva
Yes, he
was a
does.
flyweight, and now he's going to bantamweight against one of the biggest
How does he
bantamweight,
get
Sean
these? How
O'Malley.
does he get these fights, man? Like,
Because
he
he
doesn't
only-
get any challenges.
Right,
It's all-
no,
it's
he's
I mean,
talked
it's
about
all-
it. He only accepts fights against people that he's not really close to because he's going to get paid the same either way. And I believe that he only has 2 fights left in his contract, including this one. So,
hey, the higher up Marlon Vera goes, the better it looks for Sean O'Malley.
right. Kai Kara France versus Cody Garbrandt in the flyweight division. That is a very interesting fight to me. So Kai Kara France, we just saw beat Rogerio Bontorin.
Mm-hmm.
Kai Kara France, number 6 ranked in the flyweight division. Flyweight division stagnant a little bit. We saw a huge rise in it when Figueiredo and Moreno had their initial fight, and we saw the Alex Perez's, and we saw Askarov become a really great contender. He's 13-0 now, and it's kind of gotten stagnant, especially with Cody Garbrandt being injured. Cody Garbrandt's going to come back, though. Cody Garbrandt, number 7th ranked bantamweight, fighting number 6th ranked flyweight.
When's that fight with Rob Jose Aldo?
That fight is going to be happening the week before UFC 269. Font versus Aldo is December 4th. Rafael Fiziev versus Brad Riddell is the co-main event, and Jimmy Crute versus Jamal Hill.
That's a good one.
Is also a fight.
It's a good one.
That is December 4th. That's going to be a really good fight night. Jose Aldo, Rob Font is really interesting. Really interesting because I know we love Jose Aldo, and he's been tearing shit up lately, and he beat the shit out of Pedro Munoz. But Rob Font is a really great wrestler. He's a really great wrestler.
You gonna say it for me?
Huh?
Isn't Jose Aldo black belt?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, Jose Aldo is absolutely... He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's really great on the ground. But Rob Font is... If he gets you to the ground, he can ground and pound the shit out of you. And Jose Aldo has not been on the ground in recent fights. I think Jose Aldo will win, but I think that Rob Font could totally give him a run for his money. Yeah. We also got the Lioness, Amanda Nunes versus Juliana Pena. I don't know what else to say about this fight that we haven't said for Amanda Nunes. The last 4 fights, Juliana Pena, a worthy challenger.
Good luck.
Oh, man, yeah,
good luck.
Playing? Oh,
good luck.
Cut the fucking truck.
Yeah, she will be on the pod bet.
She'll be.
I don't know if it's worth it.
Just for the added.
At -4.
Yeah, just for the added, like 10 cents.
So here we go with one of the best prelims that we're going to see. Alex Perez versus Matt Schnell.
Matt Schnell.
Matt Schnell was your boy.
Yeah, he was.
He's fighting Alex Perez. That's another top 7 ranked flyweight bout.
Did you guys talk about Alex Pereira?
Yeah.
And his flying knee?
Yeah.
Watch out, Adesanya.
We have Andre Muniz, who's a fan of the MMA Complete Twitter, versus Dricus du Plessis. That's a great fight. Josh Emmett versus Dan Ige. That's a great fight. Top 15 ranked featherweight fight. Pedro Munoz versus Dominic Cruz. That's a tremendous fight. That's a top 10 ranked bantamweight fight. Jeff Neal versus Santiago Ponzinibbio.
Dominic Cruz.
So we have 3 fights to end the prelims that are all top 15 fights.
Damn.
We also got Perez and Schnell, a top 10 fight.
Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall's fighting again?
Ryan Hall. He's fighting Derek Minor. That's another good fight.
That looks like a pretty easy win for Ryan Hall. Let's get this guy. He's fighting 26-12. So maybe it was a rebound.
This guy, I don't know.
So interesting that the UFC has not officially listed what time UFC 269 will start.
As they do. Fucking UFC.
Interesting. But that is UFC 269. It is a really great card. Hopefully they get a replacement for Jorge Masvidal. They get a replacement for Jorge Masvidal.
Dude, if it's in Abu Dhabi, it ends at like 4 in the afternoon, like 5 in the afternoon, bro.
And they can get Khamzat over there.
So awesome, dude. It's.
I want Khamzat now versus Edwards. I really do.
Dude, 1:30, 2 in the morning. You know how confused I got that day? Because like I went home, smoked the bowl, right, and then like it got past 2:00, and it was already 1:40. It got past 2:00, and I looked at my phone. It said 1:10. I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute! Fucking turn the clocks back, dude!" I was like, I thought it was already. Like, oh, I went through 1:00 twice. I was bugging out. I was like, "Yo, what?"
They got me too. They got my ass.
Yeah, I thought it was like dreaming. Crazy.
All right. On that note, we're going to wrap up here. Episode 72, MMA Complete. Make sure you check out our live reactions when we do UFC 269 on December 11th. We are doing podcasts every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Make sure you check out Fans Only Sports on Facebook and YouTube. Go check out our own YouTube, MMA Complete Podcast. Go follow us on Twitter at @complete_MMA, where we've been getting quite a following. Appreciate everybody who tweets at us and gives our feedback on polls and shit we do on Twitter. It's a good follow, so go follow us at @complete_MMA. That's really going to do it. Make sure you stay tuned for the next couple weeks when we are going to be giving out our final agenda the last 2 weeks or the last 3 weeks of December. After UFC 269, we will be revising our rankings, our own MMA Complete rankings for UFC divisions, and then we are also going to be giving out our Fight of the Years, Our superlatives. Our UFC superlatives is the
Ooh.
word I was looking for.
Second
UFC
anniversary of
superlatives.
that.
Right. Our MMA Complete's second.
First
superlatives.
anniversary, second time doing it.
So that's going to do it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will be back next Thursday at 7 p.m. Have a great night, and go follow us on Twitter.
See ya.